dive into today's episode, I just want to remind you to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Your support means the world to us. It helps us grow, reach more amazing learners like you, and keep bringing you fresh and fun content every week. So don't forget, like, subscribe, and let's keep this journey going strong. Hello, wonderful idiom explorers, and a very warm welcome back to another exciting episode of Idiom Insights. I'm Emma, your enthusiastic guide, and I'm absolutely thrilled to be here with you again, ready to delve into the fascinating nuances of some more common English phrases. It's always a pleasure to share this learning journey with you as we navigate the colorful world of English.
And I'm Jack, your co-host and ever-curious word detective, here to help unravel the meanings and perhaps share a chuckle or two as we explore the rich landscape of idiomatic English. It's wonderful to be back in the Idiom Insights studio, Emma, and a big hello to all our fantastic listeners around the world. Thanks for tuning in for another dose of idiom discovery.
It's always a joy, Jack. Today, we've selected 4 incredibly useful and vivid idioms that you'll undoubtedly encounter in everyday English. Understanding these will not only significantly boost your comprehension, but also provide you with more natural and expressive ways to communicate your own thoughts and observations. These phrases cover taking risks, feeling secure, being honest, and making a big decision.
A truly excellent and varied mix today, Emma. These are idioms that really add character and depth to conversation. Here are the 4 idioms we'll be diving into in this episode of Idiom Insights. First, an idiom for taking a risk with an uncertain outcome. Roll the dice. Second, a reassuring phrase for being completely safe and unharmed. Safe and sound. Third, an expression for confessing or revealing everything you know or feel, often reluctantly. Spill your guts. And finally, an idiom for making a big, decisive commitment after a period of hesitation. Take the plunge.
Those are all fantastic and very common idioms, Jack. Each one paints a very clear picture and is used frequently, so understanding them will be incredibly beneficial for our listeners as they engage in English conversations and encounter these phrases in media.
I couldn't agree more. They're all very practical and insightful. And before we delve into the intricacies of our first idiom, a quick and sincere request from both of us here at Idiom Insights. If you're finding these episodes valuable for your English learning journey and you enjoy our explorations, please take a moment to subscribe or follow our podcast on your preferred listening platform.
Yes, subscribing is the best way to ensure you don't miss any of our future idiom adventures and linguistic discoveries. And if you're feeling extra supportive, a like or a positive rating on your podcast platform truly helps other English learners discover Idiom Insights. We are so grateful for your engagement and continued support. It really fuels our passion for this.
It genuinely makes a massive difference. Thank you all for being part of our community. Right then, Emma, are you ready for our first idiom, which sounds like taking a chance?
Let's do it! Our first idiom for this episode of Idiom Insights is roll the dice.
Roll the dice. This immediately makes me think of a board game or gambling, where the outcome depends entirely on the random roll of the dice. What does it mean when we use this idiom in a broader context, Emma?
That's exactly the image it's built on, Jack. To roll the dice means to take a risk or a chance on something, knowing that the outcome is uncertain and not entirely within your control. It means to proceed with a course of action where success is not guaranteed, and you are essentially trusting to luck or fate, just like rolling dice in a game.
So it's about making a decision to do something where there's a significant element of risk and unpredictability. For example, if someone quits their stable job to start a new, unproven business venture, they are rolling the dice on their future career. They hope it will succeed, but they know it might fail.
Precisely. Or if an investor puts money into a very new, volatile technology stock, they are rolling the dice. The stock could increase in value dramatically, or it could become worthless. The idiom emphasizes that conscious decision to take a chance where the outcome is not guaranteed.
It implies a choice to embrace uncertainty. It's not necessarily a desperate, go-for-broke situation, but more a calculated gamble where you're aware of the potential for both positive and negative outcomes.
Yes, that's a good distinction. It's about taking a chance, often with the hope of a good result, but with a clear understanding that things could go wrong. You might roll the dice on a new marketing strategy, or on a blind date, or on moving to a new city without a job lined up.
So, it's about taking a gamble on an uncertain future.
Exactly. It's that leap into the unknown.
Okay, so to roll the dice means to take a risk or a chance on something with an uncertain outcome. Ready to hear Mia and Mark use this idiom?
Let's listen in. I wonder what risky choice or chance they might be discussing.
Mark, I am trying to decide where to take that very important new client for dinner tomorrow night. I want to impress them. My first thought was to go to the Oak Room, which is always reliable and professional, but perhaps a bit boring.
The Oak Room is a safe bet, Mia. You know the food and service will be excellent. That seems like a smart choice for an important client dinner. What's the alternative?
Well, there's that brand new fusion restaurant, Ember and Ash, that just opened last week. The reviews I've seen are incredible, saying the food is innovative and exciting, but it's so new that it could still have some service issues. And what if the client doesn't like such adventurous food?
That is a tricky one. So you could go with the safe, reliable option, or you could roll the dice on the new, exciting place that could either be amazing and incredibly impressive, or a bit of a disaster if it goes wrong.
That's exactly my dilemma. Do I play it safe? Or do I roll the dice and go for something that could be a huge hit and really make a statement? It feels like a big gamble, but the potential reward of showing the client a unique and fantastic experience is very tempting.
That was a perfect example. Mia faced a choice between a safe, reliable restaurant and a new, exciting but risky one, and Mark accurately framed the second option as a decision to roll the dice, to take a chance on an uncertain outcome that could be either brilliant or disastrous.
Precisely. The idiom captured the essence of taking a calculated gamble, weighing the potential for a big success against the risk of failure. It highlighted the conscious choice to embrace uncertainty for a potentially greater reward.
It's a very common and descriptive idiom for that kind of risky decision.
It is. So, next time you decide to take a chance on something with an uncertain outcome, remember the idiom, you're rolling the dice.
And we'd love to hear about a time you decided to roll the dice. What was the situation and how did the dice land for you? Share your stories in the comments section below this episode.
Great idea, Jack. Let's move on now to our second idiom in this episode of Idiom Insights. This one sounds very reassuring.
Our second idiom today is safe and sound.
Safe and sound. This is such a lovely, comforting phrase. What exactly does it mean when someone is safe and sound, Jack?
It is a wonderfully reassuring phrase, Emma. To be safe and sound means to be completely unharmed, uninjured, and secure, especially after a period of potential danger, risk, or worry. Safe means free from harm, and sound in this context is an old word meaning healthy or whole. So together they mean completely safe and completely whole or unharmed.
So it emphasizes complete security and well-being, often with a sense of relief after a worrying time. If a child gets lost in a crowded shopping center, but is then found a short while later, completely unharmed, the parents would be immensely relieved that their child is safe and sound.
Precisely. Or after a very turbulent flight through a storm, when the plane finally lands without any incident, the passengers are all safe and sound on the ground. The idiom is often used to express relief that a period of danger has passed and everyone involved is okay.
It implies that there was a reason to be concerned for someone's safety, and that concern has now been alleviated. It can be used for people, pets, or even valuable objects that have been retrieved or protected from harm.
Yes, if there was a fire in your neighborhood but your house was untouched, you could say your house is safe and sound. It's about that feeling of security after a potential threat has passed. The alliteration of the S sound also makes it very memorable and pleasing to say.
So, if a hiker goes missing on a mountain but is found by a search party the next day, tired and cold but otherwise uninjured, they have been found safe and sound.
Exactly. It's the best possible outcome after a worrying situation.
So, to be safe and sound means to be completely unharmed and secure, especially after a period of potential danger or worry. Ready to hear Mia and Mark use this comforting idiom?
Let's listen in. I wonder what worrying situation has come to a happy and secure conclusion in their story.
Oh, Mark, I've had the most stressful afternoon. My cat, Leo, somehow managed to sneak out of the house when the door was open for a second this morning, and I didn't realize he was gone for hours.
Oh no, Mia, that's every pet owner's worst nightmare. He's never been outside on his own before, has he? The roads around here can be quite busy. You must have been so worried about him.
I was frantic. I spent the last 3 hours walking around the entire neighborhood, calling his name, shaking his favorite bag of treats, asking all the neighbors if they'd seen him. I was imagining all sorts of terrible things happening to him.
I can only imagine how you must have felt. So, is there any news? Have you found him yet?
Yes. just a few minutes ago. I was about to give up hope when I heard a faint meowing sound coming from my next-door neighbor's garden shed. He'd somehow gotten himself locked inside. My neighbor came and unlocked it, and Leo just strolled out as if nothing had happened. He's a bit dusty, but he's finally back home, safe and sound. I've never been so relieved in my life.
Oh, Mia, what a relief. I'm so happy to hear he's safe and sound. After all that worry, it's wonderful that he's back home completely unharmed.
That dialogue perfectly illustrates the idiom. Mia used safe and sound to express her immense relief that her lost cat, Leo, had been found completely unharmed after a very stressful and worrying period of searching.
Exactly. The idiom highlighted the positive outcome after a time of potential danger, emphasizing that Leo was completely secure and uninjured, which was the main concern.
It's a very common and heartwarming idiom for expressing relief and security.
It is. So next time someone or something is completely unharmed after a worrying situation, you can happily say they are safe and sound.
And we'd love to hear about a time you were relieved that someone or something was safe and sound. Share your stories in the comments below this episode.
Wonderful idea, Jack. Let's move on now to our third idiom in this episode of Idiom Insights. This one is about revealing secrets.
Our third idiom for today is spill your guts.
Spill your guts. This is another very graphic-sounding idiom. What does it mean when someone spills their guts, Jack?
It is a very vivid and informal idiom, Emma. To spill your guts means to confess everything, to reveal all the information you know, or to talk very openly and emotionally about your personal problems or feelings, often after holding them in. It implies a full and often unrestrained outpouring of information or emotion, sometimes reluctantly, as in a confession, or sometimes voluntarily, as in a cathartic release.
So it's about a total and often emotional revelation of something that was previously hidden or held back. If someone is being questioned by the police about a crime and they finally break down and tell them everything they know, they have spilled their guts.
Precisely. Or on a more personal level, if a friend has been acting very withdrawn and unhappy for weeks, and then one evening they finally open up to you and tell you all about the problems they've been facing, they are spilling their guts. It often suggests a large amount of information or emotion being released at once.
It sounds like it can be either a negative thing, like a criminal confessing, or a positive cathartic thing, like a friend finally sharing their troubles. The context is key.
Yes, exactly. It can mean to rat someone out or confess to a crime, but it can also simply mean to have a very open and emotional conversation where you don't hold anything back. The guts part symbolizes the very inner core information or feelings being let out.
So, if you're feeling very stressed and you call your best friend and just talk for an hour about everything that's bothering you, you might feel better after spilling your guts.
That's a perfect example of the cathartic use of the idiom.
So, to spill your guts means to confess or reveal everything you know or feel, often in a full and unrestrained way. Ready to hear Mia and Mark use this informal idiom?
Let's listen in. I wonder what one of them might be needing to confess or reveal.
Mia, you seem a bit down today. You've been very quiet all morning and you barely touched your coffee. Is everything all right?
Oh, hi, Mark. I don't know. I guess I just have a lot on my mind. It's just some personal stuff. Don't worry about it.
Well, it looks like it's bothering you quite a bit. You know, sometimes it helps to talk about things. If you ever feel like you want to just let it all out, I'm a good listener and I promise I won't judge.
Thanks, Mark. I appreciate that. I haven't wanted to burden anyone with it. But you're right. Keeping it all bottled up isn't helping. Actually, maybe it would be good to talk. I've been having some serious doubts about my career path lately, and I'm wondering if I've made all the wrong choices.
Okay, let's go and grab a private meeting room. It sounds like you need to just spill your guts and get it all out in the open. Tell me everything that's on your mind, from the beginning.
That dialogue clearly illustrates the idiom. Mark encouraged Mia, who was clearly troubled by something, to spill her guts, meaning to share all her worries and feelings openly and completely so she could get them out and feel better.
Exactly. The idiom was used to invite a full and honest outpouring of her personal problems and emotions, suggesting it would be a cathartic and helpful process for her.
It's a very common and often empathetic way to encourage someone to share what's bothering them.
It is. So, next time someone needs to confess everything or share all their worries, you might suggest they spill their guts.
And we'd love to hear if you think it's easy or hard to spill your guts. Do you prefer to keep things to yourself or talk them out? Share your thoughts in the comments below this episode.
Wonderful question, Emma. Now, we've arrived at our fourth and final idiom for this episode of Idiom Insights. This one is about making a big commitment.
Our final idiom for today is take the plunge.
Take the plunge. This sounds like diving into deep water. Is that the kind of decisive action this idiom describes, Emma? That's the perfect image, Emma. To take the plunge means to finally do something important, difficult, or risky after a period of thinking about it or hesitating. It means to commit yourself to a significant course of action that you've been considering for some time. Just like plunging into cold water, it's a decisive act that takes a bit of courage to initiate.
So it's about that final, decisive step after a period of deliberation. It's not an impulsive act, but a considered one that you finally commit to. If a couple has been dating for many years and they finally decide to get married, they are taking the plunge.
Precisely. Or, if someone has been unhappy in their job for a long time and has been thinking about starting their own business, the moment they actually quit their job to do so is the moment they take the plunge. It's the point of commitment.
It's similar to roll the dice, which we discussed earlier, but it seems to emphasize the personal commitment and overcoming hesitation more, doesn't it? Roll the dice feels more about external risk, whereas take the plunge often feels more about an internal decision to commit to a big life change.
That's a very insightful distinction, Emma. You're right. While both involve risk, take the plunge is very often used for major life decisions like getting married, buying a house, moving to a new country, or starting a family. Things you think about for a long time before committing.
So, if someone has always wanted to learn to fly a plane and has been talking about it for years, and they finally sign up for flying lessons, they have decided to take the plunge.
Exactly. They've moved from thinking to doing.
So, to take the plunge means to finally do something important, difficult, or risky after a period of hesitation or consideration. Ready to hear Mia and Mark use this idiom?
Let's listen in. I wonder what big decision one of them has finally made.
Mark, I have some huge news. You know how I've been talking for years about how I'm not really happy living in the city and how I dream of a quieter life in the countryside?
Of course, Mia. We've had that conversation many times. You've always said you'd love to have a small cottage with a garden somewhere peaceful, but you've always been a bit hesitant about actually leaving your job and friends here in the city.
Well, I've been thinking about it more and more seriously over the last few months. Looking at properties online and researching different villages. It's a massive decision, and I've been so scared to actually do it.
It is a huge life change. So, what's the news? Are you still just thinking about it, or has something changed?
Something has changed. I found the most perfect little cottage for sale in a beautiful village by the sea. I went to see it last weekend, and I just fell in love with it. So, I've decided to take the plunge. I put in an offer on the cottage yesterday, and I'm going to hand in my notice at work next week. I'm finally doing it.
Mia, wow! You're actually taking the plunge. That's incredible news. I'm so happy for you. It takes a lot of courage to make such a big change, but I know how much you've wanted it. Congratulations.
That dialogue perfectly illustrates the idiom. Mia, after years of hesitation and deliberation, finally made the decisive commitment to move to the countryside by putting an offer on a cottage. She took the plunge.
Exactly. The idiom captured the significance of her decision and the fact that it came after a long period of just thinking about it. It was her moment of final, courageous commitment to a major life change.
It's a very common and often celebratory idiom for making those big life decisions.
It is. So, next time you or someone you know finally commits to a big, important course of action after long consideration, you can say they've decided to take the plunge.
And we'd love to hear if you've recently taken the plunge on something big, or perhaps something you're still thinking about taking the plunge on. Share your stories in the comments below this episode.
We always appreciate reading your comments and experiences. Well, Jack, we've explored 4 more really insightful and useful idioms in this episode of Idiom Insights.
We certainly have, Emma. Just to recap for everyone tuning into Idiom Insights today, we learned
roll the dice, meaning to take a risk or a chance on something with an uncertain outcome.
Safe and sound, meaning completely unharmed and secure, especially after a period of danger or worry.
Spill your guts, meaning to confess or reveal everything you know or feel, often in a full and unrestrained way.
And take the plunge, meaning to finally do something important, difficult, or risky after a period of hesitation or consideration.
4 more fantastic additions to your English idiom repertoire. Remember, the best way to make these phrases a natural part of your vocabulary is to actively listen for them in real-life conversations and media, and then to build your confidence by trying to use them yourself in appropriate contexts.
Absolutely. Don't be afraid to experiment. The more you use them, the more comfortable and fluent your English will become, and the more you'll be able to express nuanced meanings with flair.
And if you enjoyed learning with us today, and we sincerely hope you did, please consider giving this episode of Idiom Insights a like and leaving us a positive review on your podcast platform. Your support helps us reach more learners and continue creating this content.
And make sure you hit that subscribe or follow button for Idiom Insights so you don't miss any of our future episodes, where we'll continue to unravel the wonderful and sometimes witty world of English idioms.
Thank you all so much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure exploring these phrases with you.
Keep learning, keep listening, and we'll talk to you again next time on Idiom Insights.
Goodbye, everyone.
See ya!